Game dev tutorial hell. We've all been there, but only few of us have been able to climb out of it. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 practical ways that you can do in order to get out of tutorial hell. Not only will this help you get out of tutorial hell in game development, but this will probably help you get out of tutorial hell in other aspects of life. So let's get started with this video. Learning game development is hard. It's not an easy task, and it can be very lonely. So that's why I want to give you these 3 steps to help you improve on your game development journey. It's easy to get trapped in the endless cycle of watching tutorial after tutorial after tutorial and not making real progress. You could be working on your first indie game, or you could just be looking at some type of way to level up your game development skills. By the end of this video, you'll have the tools and the mindset needed in order to level up and start working on that dream project. The truth is, it's not really that hard to get out of tutorial hell. And I was very fortunate to find the cure myself early on during my game development process. Let's focus on what tutorial hell is. You start with your game development journey and you're trying to figure out how to do A, B, and C. Let's say I'm trying to learn how to control my character. I'm learning how to add certain assets to something. Let's use 3 common tutorials for example. 1, how to animate your character. 2, how to make a health bar. 3, how to make a main menu. And then you keep on doing tutorial after tutorial after tutorial, and then you end up in this endless loop of learning so many things, but actually learning nothing in the process. Pretty tough spot to be in. Eventually you want to get to the point where you can do these things out of second nature without having to look up a video, because efficiency is really important when it comes to making games. Now these 3 steps are very simple steps, and you will probably rage at me for giving you these 3 steps because of how silly it sounds. But I don't really think they're really silly, and I think these are really good ways to improve, and not only for just game dev, but for anything in life, whether if it's fitness, school, or your Bible study, anything like that. I think these 3 steps will definitely help you out. And if you watched the video long enough, I'm going to share a bonus tip that's specifically for game dev. So enough beating around the bush, let's get started with the 3 tips. So tip number 1, you should have an accountability group. You should go in Discord servers and really try and put yourself out there. Game development is such a lonely thing to do. I'm sure that most of you who are going out and talking to your friends in real life, in the real world, not many of them are actually game developers. And you could be talking about a project that you're making and they're literally just trying to figure out what the heck are you talking about. And you may come across as someone who is a game developer, and you probably think that all you do is play games. But we all know that that's not true. Game development is such a hard thing to do, and there's so much that goes into making a game. So this is why having an accountability group is such an important thing, because you surround yourself with people who are doing the same thing that you are doing, and you also have to make sure that you are only talking about game dev specific stuff, such as projects that you are working on, what are your goals for the week or the month or the year, sharing ideas on how to grow. These are such important things to do, and also showing your work and telling people and trying to explain to your fellow colleagues why you're adding a certain feature to your projects. This is something that I was very fortunate to do early on in my game dev journey, which I've only been on for about 2.5 months. And I can't stress enough how important it is to have this, because you just have someone that you can relate to, and it just doesn't feel so lonely. You're not only receiving feedback from the people you're surrounding yourself with, but you are also giving yourself the ability to give feedback to others when they share their ideas with you. And that can be very exciting to do. So how do you do this? It's not as hard as you're probably making it out to be in your head. What helped me out mainly was going to Discord servers and just being active in them, showing them my project, introducing who I was, and just responding back to people's work. I think stuff like that goes a long way, and it also builds rapport with the people who are also in the server as well. And it's not one of those things that you want to force it by hand. You just want it to happen very naturally. So these are kind of some social skills that I'm trying to implement here, because you want to make sure you put yourself in a really good group. You don't want to put yourself in a group where you're only there for about a month or 2 weeks and then that's the end, and then the group dies. You want to make sure you surround yourself with solid people who share the same values and ideas as you do. And so far, the group that I'm in, like, we're killing it. I mean, we have our own separate projects that we're working on, and we're supporting each other and we're cheering each other on. And every time I post a YouTube video or these guys post a YouTube video, like, I'm always there for them. And it's such a wholesome feeling. And I feel like things like that can go a long way in the future. And I feel like lifelong friendships happen this way. So find yourself an accountability group, and if this is something that you would like for me to go more in depth into, I'd be more than happy to do that. Just leave that in the comments below. Okay, tip number 2, and you're probably going to kill me for this because it's kind of a no-brainer, but I'm so surprised that nobody really, okay, maybe not nobody, but a lot of people don't really do this, and that's taking notes. Just take notes. I know it sounds so simple and it sounds so silly, but there's a whole bunch of people who don't really take notes when they're watching videos. They'll watch the video and, you know, if they have a second monitor, they'll like look side by side, making sure they're clicking everything that the instructor is clicking, and then boom, that's it. But they don't really sit down and write down the steps that are being taken, or when the instructor is explaining, you know, why he's doing certain steps, like, you don't write that down. And I think that's really crucial in the learning process. Oh, but I'm a visual learner, you know, I have to watch and all this stuff. Well, write it down too, because you learn a lot better when you write things down as well. And if you're struggling with tutorial hell, then golly, man, you need to write this stuff down too, because you're obviously not learning anything. It's good to have things to look back into and just refresh your brain onto why certain things work. I had to do this because I don't have any coding experience. Okay, I had to freaking look up what an array is and what a Boolean is and what all these other stuff is. Like, I have a whole journal just pretty much just sharing like all this stuff. Like, I had to buy like a whole notebook. Like, I went to Home Depot. Where'd I come up with that? I went to Office Depot and just bought myself a notebook and just said, I'm gonna make this notebook specifically for game development because I don't know anything. And after making my first game, I realized that it's a steep learning curve. So notes are very crucial and you should write them down. Tip number 3, something that probably nobody ever talks about, but you notice to be true if you've done this before. Teach people what you're learning. If you already have gained some experience under your belt and you know the A's and the B's and the C's of game development, and you know you're in a Discord server or you're with your accountability group or somebody new joins, and you see people asking questions on how to do certain things, you should take the time to try and teach it to them if you know it. Why is that important? Because you learn more from teaching others. So not only do you learn from taking notes and digesting information, but it also helps you retain more knowledge when it comes to helping people. And people really appreciate you. And sometimes you might even make another friend from doing that as well. So that's a tip for tip number 1 if you're trying to learn how to make friends. And sometimes when you're teaching others, you also learn how to tackle problems differently. And you find new angles on how to tackle certain problems and find different solutions and not only just one. So that can be a pretty cool thing too. Game development is all about collaboration. And this helps you take big old complex issues and breaking them down into simpler ways, which not only helps the person that you're helping, but it helps you as well. So yeah, that's it. Those are pretty much the only things you really need in order to escape tutorial hell. But did we forget something? The bonus tip. Start making your own stuff. Make your own game, your own movie, sequence, whatever it is that you're trying to make it. Just start making it. There's no better way in learning than actually trying to do it yourself. When you run into issues, you have to go through the pain of learning how to solve an issue. It hurts a lot. Don't get me wrong, it hurts. But that is part of the learning process, is to go through pain. You know, when you're learning how to walk, when you're learning how to ride a bike, you had to fall down and, you know, scratch your elbows and your knees. But eventually, you started riding and you started walking, and it just became easier after that. So you gotta go through the pain. Now I hope you understand this is a video that's not trying to make you stop using tutorials. This is a video that is designed to help you tackle tutorials in a more efficient way. And you do that by surrounding yourself with people and having a group to keep you accountable, taking notes while you do tutorials, and teaching others what you learn. And if you do all 3 of those things, then you will learn something. And not just sit behind your screen while you're working on a blank project and being like, I've learned nothing. So I hope this video really helps. If you like the video, make sure you like the video and don't forget to subscribe. Also, thank you to everybody who has subscribed to this channel. We've reached 100 subscribers and we are going to the moon with this channel. I believe it. 1,000 subscribers, here we come. Thank you so much, and I hope you all have an amazing day.